I sent you the answers. All right, but more importantly, I want you to take a look up here. And as we're going through, you're checking your work. And then if you're not sure, now's the time to ask. All right? Tomorrow there's a few math problems, but a lot of it is also just understanding some definitions. What is a function? Functional notation. Independent, dependent variables. Those types of things. All right? So please pay attention right now. All right, number one. Does anybody have any objections with that being C? Speak up now. Moving forward. Number two was A. Everybody happy? Jax, you guys all right?
Yep.
Number three was C. Even though I kind of changed the tsunami gets what? Small as soon as it hits land. Agreed? All right. 4 is D. And 5 is A. Any issues? Any issues? Any issues?
I got D.
You got D?
Yeah.
The last one should be 2-1, not 1-2. You guys see that?
Oh.
You all right?
Uh-huh.
Good. Make that correction. All right, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Number 6 was yes. Number 7 was also yes. Now remember, the reason something is a function if all the x values are different. Remember, we also talk about passing the vertical line test. Is everybody good? 8 and 9. Now, somebody asked me in the last class about y equals 2. Remember, y equals 2 is a horizontal line. All right, if y equals 2 is a horizontal line, it will pass the vertical line test. So I agree with that. If it's x equals, like this right here, that's a vertical line. Is a vertical line a function? No, it's the only line that's not a function. Or it's the only line that's not a function. Anybody have any questions with that? All right. Let's continue on. All right, now this was the important stuff right here. All the functional notation. We had lots of questions from my earlier classes. So I want everybody to take a look at this and make sure. All right, we had a nice discussion on what -2 squared is. What is -2 squared? It is -4. If I do a substitution, parentheses, -2 squared is +4. Everybody with me? All right, remember, I'm also letting you check things with your calculator. All right, I'm letting people check things with their calculator. So make sure you're doing that. All right. Does anybody have any questions with 10, 11, 12, or 13? Yes.
I'm just a little confused by -2 squared is 4.
-2 squared is -4.
Oh, negative. Oh, yeah, I get that.
Right.
If it's in parentheses,
It's +4.
Yeah, I remember.
Right? And again, you can double check that and verify that using your calculator. Using your calculator. All right, if you just type it on your calculator, -2 squared, it will be -4. If you put it in parentheses, it will be +4. Think about that. Now I'm asking, anybody have any questions with 10, 11, 12, 13? 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes, sir.
I got 1
For which one?
I mean, I got number 11. I got.
Okay, so let's see if I made a mistake. If I plug -1 in, Here's the information right there. You with me? Negative 1 squared is what? 1.
Yeah.
Because it's in parentheses. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2.
Oh, that's fine.
Right? Good. Making your corrections. Anybody? All right. I'm going to push it up a little bit. 12, 13, 14. Anybody need me to explain anything on that? Ben.
You go over number 14.
Okay, let's look at 14. All right, very, very important. What does this mean to do? Right here, what does this mean?
That is X.
That is the x value. So wherever I see an x, I'm going to put what? B. So that's what I did. Wherever I saw an x, I put B, and I got that. You with me? Then what was I supposed to do? I was supposed to add 1. You agree with this? So that's where this came from, the adding 1. Now the 2 in front means to distribute the 2. So when I distribute the 2, I end up with that. Can you see that? You with me? Come on now, you've been working hard, so let me know. You good?
What was the answer?
Okay. Everybody pretty happy with that? Okay. Now, of course, this is what I was talking to you about earlier. If you wanted to, you could check 15 and 16 with your calculator. Does everybody remember where the absolute value is on your calculator, right? It's math. Then you slide over 1 where it says number. And then ABS is the very first one. If you hit enter, the absolute value sign will come up. Anybody have any questions with that? 15 and 16? Nobody? All right, I'm pretty happy then. All right, let's scroll down. Okay, now solving absolute values. Does everybody remember now? When you solve an absolute value, first and foremost, the absolute value must be isolated. And then once it's isolated, you have to write 2 equations and solve them. So in this, I have 2z minus 9 equals 1. We write 2z minus 9 equals 1, and then we write 2z minus 9 equals negative 1. We solve both equations, and those are both solutions. Colin, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to explain that, or is that good for you? Yes, sir.
So when we do take the quiz or test, are we going to have to give both answers? Or
Yes, of course. That's the answer.
Right.
Both answers.
Both answers.
You would write z equals 5 or z equals 4. Girls up front, how am I doing? Any questions? Kate? You good? All right, I'm looking here now at 18. Is everybody seeing that? Same exact problem. You write it equal to 9, then you write it equal to negative 9. I'm hoping your mental math is getting better, right? We're subtracting 6, dividing by 3. Subtracting 6, dividing by 3. Carly, you good?
Yeah.
Vivian? Any questions with 17 or 18? I'm going to scroll 19 up. 19 is the one you should put star by and make sure you review that. Because 19 is the one that doesn't have the absolute value isolated. 19, the absolute value is not isolated. So let me scroll it up a little bit and let you look at it and make sure you understand what I'm saying. So the first thing I have to do is isolate it by adding 4 to both sides. And then divide by 9. So the absolute value of x is equal to 3. And now x could equal 3 or negative 3. Boys in the back, how's that?
Very
Good
good.
job so far. Max, big day tomorrow, buddy.
Is the test tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes. Speak up now. I can't help if you guys, some of you guys, I tell you every day, I can't help you if you're not going to participate. Will,
Oh yeah, I'm just
you good?
making
Bragdon,
Yes.
you in the game on this? All right, good job. All right, now the next lesson should be fairly easy because we started the next lesson in 6th grade, in 5th grade actually. All right, but we didn't learn the formula. Percent of increase is always what? The change divided by the original amount. You have to know that for the test. All right, the change divided by the original amount. So let's scroll this up. Now, do I care if you put 44.4% or 44 and 4 ninths? If you put 44 and 4 ninths, that just means I know you're listening to me. I would like for you to know that. All right? Now, there you have 4 problems. Same. Change divided by the original amount. Now, again, I thought 23. Some people thought they did 23 wrong. Can you get more than 100%? Yes. All right. What?
Wait, were we supposed to put it was increase?
No, I don't care about increase or decrease. Come on. You're just saying from 18 to 10, is that an increase or a decrease?
Oh, decrease.
Yeah. I know. If we can't tell me that, man, I'm in a lot of trouble. Right? Or if you don't know the formula, all right, that's one thing. But you ought to be able to look to see if it's going up or going down. So I don't worry about that. Right? I just want to tell me it's a 44%. If you put 44% decrease, you're good. All right? Anybody have any questions with that formula? Allison, you with me? No problems. All right, let's see what's next. This, I think, is the easy part for kids. All right, one more. Is everybody good with that being 11.7%? Same formula. Now the next part where we're trying to find the total price. Now, 6.5%, right? You pay 100% plus the 6.5%. That's where I got the 1.065. Everybody good? You need a calculator tomorrow. I don't have any to borrow. Bring yours. Everybody good with 26 and 27? Those are all the same, right? 100% plus. Now, tomorrow I might try to trick you and say, what's the tax? If I ask you for just the tax, you just have to multiply by what? Come on. Jake, what do I have to multiply if I say, what's the tax?
I have to.
No, I didn't. Go.
Oh, yeah, I have to multiply by 1.065.
If I want the total bill, I would multiply by 1.065. If somebody just says, how much tax do you have to pay, you would just multiply by what?
How much?
Tell them.
0.065.
Yeah,
Oh.
0.065. Because I'm just talking about the tax. Just talking about the tax. Everybody agree with that? Right? If I say, what's the tax, you just multiply by 0.06. Girls up front, are you guys hearing me on that? Do you understand? If I'm asking you for the total bill, it's 100% plus the tax. If I say, what's the tax, you just multiply by 0.06. In all of these cases, I just ask for the total bill, because that's generally what I care about. I don't care about what my tax is. Well, I do. Most people don't. All right? So here we go. I'm going to scroll down. Now we're doing discounts. Now you got to ask yourself a question. You understand how we got the decimals for the discounts? Now instead of paying 100%, you only have to pay what percent here? Hello?
75.
I only have to pay 75%. Here, instead of paying 100%, I only have to pay what? 90%. And if I get a 45% discount, I only have to pay what? 55%. Does that make agree? And just typing that on the calculator, guys. Straightforward, easy, easy, easy. Just type it in. Easy as that. Does everybody understand that? That is super, super important. All right, now continue up here, and let's see what we got here. All right, now number 31 is for sure on the test, so make sure you understand that. Right here, you want the final bill if you get a discount of 20% and the tax is 7%. So if you get a discount of 20%, that means you only have to pay what?
80.
80%. And then if there's a 7% tax, you have to multiply that answer by what? 1.07. Is everybody happy with that? Just type that straight into your calculator. Now remember what I'm trying to tell some of you guys. It's no good for you to just write down what I have and then write down my answer. You're supposed to be practicing using your calculator. If you come up to my desk tomorrow and say my calculator doesn't work, it says error every time, I can't help you. You understand that? You're supposed to be making your mistakes right now on your calculator. Anybody have any questions so far? All right, now we're back to percent of increase or decrease. So 90 minus 36 divided by 90, 60%. 60%. Somebody need help on that one? Nobody? Yes, good for you, girl.
It's a little bit confusing.
Okay, so again, the reason it's a little bit confusing because you probably didn't write down the formula. What's the formula for percent of increase or decrease again? What's the formula? Then flip back to your notes. Did you not write it down anywhere on your notes? Because we already did like 4 or 5 problems dealing with percent of increase or decrease.
Is it the 1.06?
No. Flip back to which numbers are percent of increase or decrease?
It's the original and then the new.
So what is the formula?
Original is the bottom, and then the new one is the top.
Now you see why I get frustrated.
Change over.
Well, you can write that down. You'll never have to worry about it if you know the formula. Come on, you have to know the formula. It's the change divided by the original amount. Now take out your calculator and figure out how do I find the change. How do you find the change, guys? How do I find the change?
Don't you subtract?
Yes, you do. You subtract them. Subtract, and then divide by the original. So now let's go back to that problem you were talking about, Carly, and see if you understand it now. You with me?
Yeah.
Did you get 0.6, right? And 0.6 is the same as 60%.
Yeah.
Agreed, right? So now you understand what I'm saying. You can't do the problem if you don't know the formula. Now you wrote the formula down this time, right?
I did.
Come on now. Test tomorrow. Alrighty. Now, the next important part. Super important. I think we're getting better at it. Distance equals rate times time. If I'm solving for r, I just have to divide by t. Boys, you alright with that in the back?
Yes, sir.
Straightforward, right? Nothing to it. Girls, this is a little bit harder now. Does anybody have a problem with number 33? Carly, you good or not?
I'm good.
All right, over here I'm solving for x. So that means I have to move the y, right? And if I move the y, it's plus over here, so on the other side it's going to be minus. Thank you. And then, to undo multiplication, wow, thank you. Boys, you got that, right? Colin? Good? Allison? Do I need to show you anything? Now, aren't 34 and 35 kind of the same, right? 34 and 35 kind of the same. Just extra practice. Moving and dividing. Okay? All good? All right, now why is 36 a little bit trickier? Because of the fraction. How do we undo fractions, though? Multiply by the? Yes, you multiply by the reciprocal. So everybody take a look at that. Max, you still with me?
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I subtracted v. Right? Subtracted v. And then how do I get rid of 2/3? How do I get rid of 2/3? Multiply. Yeah, you can even do it in your sleep. You're so good. I appreciate that. All right, 3 over 2. Ben? Simple as that, right? Simple, simple. Girls, Vivian,
Simple.
you in? You haven't said a word all year so far. You good? All right. Got the first almost word out of your mouth. Allison, you ever going to talk this year? Good. All right. I got one word out of you now. Don't worry about Jessica talking. Good? Any questions? All right, 37 now. 37 is kind of, you don't have to set it up this way. I just did it just to show you, functional notation. I don't think the question was that hard. $20 a day, 30 cents per mile. You drive 25 miles. If you drive 25 miles, multiply that by 30 cents, and then you add what you cost for the car every day. Everybody good on that? Does anybody have any questions with why it's $27.50? Ben does. With what? Okay. Did you see this? I just tried to show you notation. All right. The fee is what I was thinking. The fee per mile. Do you see that? So you're going to get charged $20 and then 30 cents per mile. Does that make sense now? And you drove how many miles? 25. Right, so I did 30 cents times 25, added to 20. So I have to pay him $27.50. You good with that now? All right. What about 38? Remember, a relation is a function if the x values are all different, right? If the x values are all different. Is everybody agreeing with me? If the x values are all different, I tried to show you how the number 2 is mapped to 2 different places.
Oh, so that's why it's not.
That's right. Now, b is also a line. I want you to know that's a line, correct? And if that's a line, then it's automatically a function unless it's a vertical line, and that's not vertical. Everybody okay with 38, the explanation on that? All right. Now, there was a negative in 39. Some of the kids made a mistake on that earlier because of the negative. Everybody good on that? Plug in. Let me just go and blow it up a little bit because I want to make sure you're good. Everybody see that now? Substituting in. Nothing? No questions? All right. Pretty happy with that. Everybody good? All right. Now the next set of questions is dealing with just interpreting graphs, I think. I didn't think these were that hard, but they're very important, especially on the SAT. They always ask you about graphs. All right. So the price did not change. Is that okay with 40? Everybody good with that?
I'm just a little confused. How can you tell it?
Well, if the price changed, it would be going like this.
Oh.
Right? The price would be going up, the price would be going down. But this price always stayed the same. For example, if this was like 10, the price is always 10. Okay? Remember the domain. What is the domain again? All of the
The Y.
X. And the range is the what? The Y. And I always tell kids, remember that because it's alphabetical order. D comes before R, X comes before Y. So the domain are the X values, and range are the Y values. Everybody okay with that? All right, any questions? Okay. And does everybody see the relation is not a function? Does everybody agree with that? It's not a function and does not pass the vertical line test. Everybody good? All right, moving along here. Determine if the relation is a function. B is not a function.
But
Remember, it's not a function, again, because -3 has 2 y values.
what about C?
All right, let's look at C. All you have to do is look at the x values.
Oh, so
Are all the x values different?
yeah,
Yeah. You see the difference between B and C?
yeah, I do.
Because this -3 goes to 2 different.
Okay.
You with me? All right. The y-intercept. The y-intercept is simply where the line crosses the y-axis. So I tried to highlight that for you and show you. That's the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is always when the x value is 0. The y-intercept is always when the x value is 0. Very good on that? Correct? So, 0 bracelets, that's the x. The cost is the y. 0, 30. That's exactly what that means. That's the y-intercept. Which doesn't really make sense. 0, if you make 0 bracelets, it's going to cost you what? $30. Does that make sense? All right. Because there's always what? Overhead, or there's cost associated with making things, correct? So if you don't sell anything, it's not that you made $0, right? It's that you had to pay for things, all right? That's why that makes sense. Now, the end behavior, I haven't really told you what end behavior is, but you ought to be able to look at that and say the end behavior is just what's happening in the graph. What's happening?
The total cost increases.
Yeah, the total cost increases. Some people thought it was D. Let's talk about that. What's the difference between the total cost and the total cost per dozen?
The total cost is just how much money you make in total it's cost, but the cost per dozen is like at the beginning of the graph, the cost per dozen would be like $5, but by the end it'd be like $10.
Well, listen to me on this. Think about it like this. If you go to the store and buy eggs, they usually come in a dozen, right? If you buy 10, does the cost of each dozen change?
No.
Or does it cost your total cost change?
Couldn't.
The total cost is changing. So the more you buy, the more expensive it is. Is everybody with me? But when you buy more, does the price change? No. Everybody agree with that? Right? So it's not the price per item, it's the total cost of buying the items that's changing. All right, here we go. Next important problem, look up. 46, functional notation. Come on. Look up, we're on 46. You're supposed to be checking your work. Now let's review what this means. This means to plug in R for X. And after you plug in R for X, you have to multiply everything by what?
2.
Multiply everything by 2. Is everybody good with that? It's not that hard, right? All right, let's see what's next. More graphs. Good. We already talked about independent. Independent is always the what? X. Y depends on X. So Y is the dependent. Everybody good? All right, so in this case, the year is the X and the newspaper is the Y. Thank you, Max. What?
Can you go back to number 46?
Yes, I can for you. What's the matter?
Can you
Right. What this means, Max, look how simple. You ready? Pay attention. It's super easy. Very, very simple. This means to plug R in for X. So see this X right here, this X right there, I just changed them to what? That's all I did. And after I changed them to R, I then multiplied everything by what? By 2. You with me? So each X became a R,
Okay.
right? All right, good question. All right, moving forward. Okay, now we're practicing solving absolute values again. So we did this earlier in the day, so it should be just pretty much a review here. So you would say C minus 5 equals 7, and then you would say C minus 5 equals negative 7. Everybody good on this? And so now when you solve that, C is 12 or negative 2. Every time you have an absolute value equation, you're going to have 2 answers. Now, what's the problem with 50? We have to isolate the absolute value first. You have to isolate the absolute value first. In order to isolate the absolute value, I have to add 5, and then I divide by 3. And then it's isolated. Very good? Now it's isolated, correct? Now I put 2x minus 4 equals 6, and 2x minus 4 equals negative 6. You solve that out. Good? Absolute values. All right, absolute value equation. Now, what's wrong with 51? First of all, it's not isolated, right? But then, Miss Bragdon, what is it? Because your absolute value is set equal to a what? Your absolute value can't be negative. Distance can't be negative. That's what we're talking about.
Did you get on 50? Did you like add 5 so it'd be 18? And then you have to divide by.
And that's how I got what?
6.
Now listen to me. Here's what I'm trying to tell you about. Listen what he just said. Hey, listen, Carly, it's important for you also. It's important for everybody. When you don't know something, here's where I'm trying to show you something, how you figure things out. Alex, listen to me. It's important. Girls, I mean it. Listen. Listen, look up. Because he was confused about how in the world I got a 6. What I'm trying to show him is there's a minus 5 and a 13. How did that become 18? You added it. What's the only way I can get a 6? I had to have what? Divided by 3. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Even when you forget something, you should be able to look at the notes and say, wow, I have no idea what he did, but I saw a minus 5. That minus 5 is gone. You should be able to tell me, well, how do I get rid of a minus 5? Add 5. So, am I right? Well, what's 13 plus 5? 18. How do I undo multiplication? Division. I have an 18 and a 3. How did I make it 6? I had to have what? I had to have divided. So you understand what I'm saying? That's how you're supposed to look at notes and information and not copy it down, but you're supposed to say, wow, the only possible way to get that is if I would have added and divided. Agreed? And you're smart enough to say that's the only possible way I can get to 18 with 5 and 13. All right, now you individually do them, correct? And you understand why 51 is no solution? All right, 51 is no solution because the absolute value is set equal to a negative. Do you agree with that? Absolute value is set equal to a negative. When I isolated the absolute value, it was equal to negative 3. Is it possible for an absolute value to be negative? No, that's why it's no solution. Tell me.
On the test, can we just say, like, if right off the bat that's no solution? Do we have to, like...
Yeah, but sometimes I trick kids by putting a negative here, but then when you do the operation, like if I would have said this was a negative 7 here, then the answer would be no longer no solution. Because when I divide by negative 7, now it would make it a what? Positive 3. Do you hear me?
No.
Okay, so look, if I made that negative 7, when I divide by negative 7, now it's a what? Positive 3.
Oh, yeah.
Now there's an answer,
Yeah.
right? So just because it said equal to a negative, you got to look to make sure it's not a trick question.
And also, like when there's like a 7 outside of the absolute value thing, that means like you have to
Divide it out.
divide it.
That's right, because you have to isolate. All right. Now, the important stuff here, guys. Now I'm on the SAT questions. All right, and like I said, these are actual SAT questions. All right, so I want everybody to look at number 52. F of 7 minus F of 5. All I have to do is plug in 7 and then plug in 5 and subtract the answers. Colin, are you okay with that? Boys in the back, you understand me on that problem?
Yeah.
That's a little bit harder. Girls, is everybody comfortable with what I just said there? All right. Now, everybody should put a star by 53. I'm solving for P, right? Now, how did I know I'm solving for P? Because I looked at all my answers and said P equal, P equal, P equal, and P equal. So that kind of gave me a clue. I'm solving for what? I'm solving for P. Right? So the divided by 6 is in the way. How do I get rid of a divided by 6? Multiply by 6. And when I multiply by 6, I get 6E is equal to O plus 4M plus P. Agreed? Now, how do I get rid of O? Subtract it. How do I get rid of a positive 4M? Subtract it. Look at that now. And like I said, that was on the SAT exam. I'm going, I didn't think that was that hard. Most of the kids have a lot of trouble with that. Jax, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Ben? Speak up if you're not sure, buddy.
Can you
Show you again?
because I don't have
All right, let me load up for you. You tell me. Is that, you're asking me about 53, right? Okay, so let's talk, Ben. Do you understand I have to get rid of divided by 6 by multiplying both sides by 6?
yes.
And when I do that, just to show you, right, this goes away, this goes away, and this goes away. You with me now, right? And now to get rid of this positive O, I do minus O and minus 4M. Minus O minus 4M. Does that make sense now, Ben?
Yes.
Because now the positive O and the negative O cancel, the 4M and the negative 4M cancel. You agree with that? All right, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's do some more. Oh, 54 was kind of easy, right? Plug 8 in. Any problem there, girls? Boys? Now, 55 was a nice little problem. All right, another percent problem just to make sure. 115% of a number is 460. Let's find the number first. So of in math always means to multiply. So just 1.15 times x is equal to 460. Now how do we undo that multiplication? Division. So you should have your calculator out, double checking my work to make sure I'm right. Even though we all know I am. Right? Well, we could double check just in case. So does everybody agree x equals 400, right? And of course, a lot of kids circled 400. So they're not asking for what x is, they're asking what's 75% of that. So now you're just multiplying 400 times 0.75. You have to be careful. Is everybody good on that? So G is correct. G is correct. All right? All right, let's take a look. What's next? A few more graphs. All All right, 56, I kind of highlighted for you because, believe it or not, that's an SAT question too. I find it hard to believe. Strictly increasing means strictly going what? Up. And decreasing means going what?
Down.
Going down. I tried to highlight the blue and the red in that interval to show you what that meant. Going up and then going what? Down. Is everybody okay with 56 being B? Are you guys telling me the bell's getting ready to ring?
1 minute.
All right. Does anybody want me to look at 57 real quick, man?
Yeah.
Let's look at 57. Hold on. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Are you guys going to lunch next? Or you going to, or you already have lunch? All right, so relax for a second. Relax. F of -4 means go to -4 and tell me what the y is. I went to -4. Notice I highlighted it red for you. So you can see the y value is 1. Do you agree with that?
Oh, okay.
I went to -4 and went up to 1. Then I went to 3/2. 3/2 is 1.5. So I went to 1.5, which I marked in green. And I showed you that that y value is also what? 1. And then I went to f of 3, which is the blue. F of 3, I went up to 1. All right. If you have any questions, come back and see me in the morning if you need to. Double check things, though. Good job.